And we're live.
Hello, I'm Sir Wolfie, and welcome to Deviants 15. Today is a special day. It's about polyamorous.
Yes.
Let's first go down the list on who we have. Other people should be joining in, and hopefully they will be joining in soon. We have little Silea, probably at work. And she's not talking. Tara. And
I'm here. I'm just muting myself because my roommate's in the room and we have company and the kids are in the room.
There are children present? Oh my god!
I was beginning
a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old.
And I was beginning to think my imagination was seeing you guys there, so I was going mad.
No.
And we have Tyro.
No, fluffy butt.
Greetings. I'm Tyro in Kuwait. So this is going to be about poly. I've actually been in poly relationships before, got that out of my system, and boy, did that end well, let me tell you. I also have
the right people.
Yeah, go check out my channel. I have a thing called the Biswell Pipeline, which has been doing pretty well. So please go watch that. Schmeckel has called it the best video on the internet ever. I have him. I did
think that was pretty interesting. I watched it.
Oh, thank you.
I want the link.
All right, I shall provide the link.
Yeah, especially with you using She-Ra as one of them. That's why I watched it.
Yeah, well, I figured I'd use a timely example. It's also one of the best documented examples, too.
Yes, definitely.
There we go. It's in the chat for the video. Hey, we got 4 people watching. Yay.
Yay.
Hello,
okay,
Jake.
Hello, 4 people. Oh, you got 2 likes, too.
Yay!
One of them is me.
I only see one like. Oh, I have 3. Yay!
Oh, 4. Sweet. Okay.
Oh.
Jacob says, I didn't get notified and I even have the bell rung. Jacob, blame YouTube.
Fuck YouTube, as Lo-Fi would say.
All right. First
no, thank
order
you.
of news from Fox. Polyamorous town under... Yeah. This is from Fox News. Polyamorous town under scrutiny picks outside as chief.
Wait, what?
I'll go figure. It's in Salt Lake City. Polyamorous community.
Yeah, Utah is the state for Mormons and shit like that.
Yep. Now Mormons don't do polyamory; they do polygamy. Polygamy is strictly the strictly male-oriented version, where it's one man with many wives.
Nah, fuck that. I want to be one woman with many husbands.
Yeah, they don't do polyandry, which is you find polyandry in India and some of the mountainous communities.
See, polyamorous doesn't bother me because my girl can find another guy if she wishes, and so on and so forth. So can Silea. But Salt Lake City, a polyamorous community on the Utah-Arizona borders, has hired an outsider as its new police chief, selecting a retired Salt Lake City area police officer with no ties to the fundamentalist Mormon group that controlled the town for a century until federal government cracks down. Right.
You are echoing really, really hard, Sir Fluffy Butt.
Am I doing better now?
I'm hearing an echo on your end.
It shouldn't be on my end. I muted the...
Either that, or it might be because Silea is on her phone. But I think she's muted, isn't she?
She is.
Interesting.
So somebody...
Okay, it's gone now.
I'm hung up from everything else, so I shouldn't be hearing me echo. Is this better?
Yes, much.
The appointment of Mark Askerland, as town marshal, announced Thursday night in a joint news release from Hilldale, Utah, and Colorado City, Arizona, is designed to help bring fairness to a department that a jury found had discriminated against people who aren't of the dominant religious sect. The selection was approved by the town councils after it was made by independent monitors appointed by the U.S. government to supervise the towns for 10 years as a result of the religious discrimination case. The hiring of the 63-year-old Askerland is the latest move designed to pull the town into modern society and away from the clustered religious philosophy.
Cloistered.
Cloistered, yeah. Cloistered, same thing.
No, there's a cluster, which is a bunch of things, or a cloister, which is shut off from everything else.
Closed off,
right.
Yeah.
Nuns are in a cloister. There's a cluster of nuns in the cloister.
Nuns need to find dick. Philosophy it had for decades. The new mayor and town council of Hilldale are not members of the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or FLDS. Askerland, 33, in law enforcement included a 9-year stint helping the Salt Lake City suburb of Cottonwood Heights get its new police agency established. I think it's a perfect fit for what we are needing right now, said Jared Nicole, a new Hilldale City Council member who is an outsider. We're kind of at that ground level where we need to start building up. We need to start getting past a lot of this stuff that has happened. The previous chief, Jerry Darger, was fired in March. He is a member of FLDS, a radical offshoot of mainstream Mormonism, with members who believe polygamy brings exaltation in heaven. Exaltation. Exaltate. Yeah, that's why I said exaltation. Polygamy is a legacy of the early teachings of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but the mainstream church abandoned the practice in 1890 and now prohibits sex to be them. The community on the Utah-Arizona border has a population of 8,000 people and is nestled against picturesque Red Rock cliffs. Its demographics are rapidly shifting as former sect members seem to outnumber FLDS followers. Utah is boring when you drive through it. Trust me, I know.
Sounds like they're boring. Jesus.
Many FLDS members have left the town amid government-ordered eviction because group members refuse to pay occupancy fees. Askerland's selection follows the election's victory last November of Hilldale Mayor Dunia Jessup, a former FLDS member who became the first woman of the first non-member of the polygamous sect to hold the seat. While Newtown leaders and others are happy with the changes, sect members believe the town they built and loved is being ripped away from them. They believe jailed leader Warren Jeffs is their prophet and was wrongly convicted. He is serving a life sentence in Texas for sexually assaulting underage girls he considered brides.
Isn't he the one that was all over the news where he was marrying like 7 and 8-year-olds and shit like that.
If somebody wants to look him up real quick, we can find out.
Yes, that is the one. He was here in Texas.
Yeah.
There was some significant amount of controversy, though, with it, because it turns out a lot of the accusations of abuse and stuff were not true. They were later, a good chunk of it was later disproven. There are some serious controversies regarding what happened with him in terms of how the state handled the case. I mean, did he abuse some people? It seems so, but we're not sure.
They're kids.
Well,
it's abuse.
he also went through the rule of the old medieval rule of old enough to bleed, old enough to breed, which is archaic at best.
Mm-hmm.
While new town leaders and others are happy with the changes, sect members believe the town they built and loved is being ripped away. Askerlin said Friday he agreed to a 3-year contract and planned to build a professional organization with officers who watch over the community without bias, prejudice, or favoritism. That's never going to happen. There's always favoritism. He said he'll meet officers next week. He plans to lay down ground rules, proper training and equipment, then hold them accountable. If they can't be unbiased, he'll replace them, Askerlin said. That finding outside police officers to replace them could be difficult due to the remoteness of the area and because of a nationwide struggle to attract and retain police officers. He said he may be able to entice retired officers who want to get back to work. The reason why there's a struggle is because of people like BLM and shit like that. Askerlin starts next week and plans to live in the outskirts of St. George, in an area that fits within the requirements of living within 35 miles of the community. The lifelong Utah resident said he'll treat everyone equally, whether they are FLDS or not. He said being an outsider should help as he begins meeting people and hearing about their concerns and hopes. I can go there with no preconceived notion or biases, he said. And that's the end of the article. Of that article. Still on things. I'll close you out. Goodbye. This says something about polygamous sect first not recorded at Pringle Campground. This is from KOTA-TV, wherever that is. Does that really refer to us? It's in South Dakota. A South Dakota judge ruling has confirmed that children were born on a remote Black Hills compound run by a secretive religious sect offering new insight into life with the polygamous FLDS. The ruling in September by 7th Circuit Judge Jeff W. Davis revealed that births occurred on the compound near Pringle and were not recorded with the state as required by law. The judge granted birth certificates to 2 girls who, according to their mother, were born a decade ago on the Custer County compound operated by the polygamous fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, a radical offshoot of Mormonism. We all know that. Until, see, it's people like this that give polyamorous a bad name, though. Until the ruling by David, no birth certificates had ever been issued to a resident of the compound that is secured by barbed wire, fences, and guarded by a watchtower, despite widespread suspicion that children had been born there. The failure to obtain birth certificates of children of FLDS members follows a directive given in 2002 by FLDS Warren, leader Warren Jeffs and religious elder Sam Barlow. Why do I know that name? In an audio tape of a speech by Jeffs and Barlow, the two leaders tell other FLDS elders to not register births because doing so provides information about the age of the children's mother and the identity of the father, which they said could implicate church members for having sexual relations with minors. This is disgusting.
It really is.
Well, this is the same kind of stuff that goes on with the Muslim groups. Have you looked at Dearborn, Minnesota?
All right, I'm going to make a comment real quick before I finish. Last two small paragraphs. Humorous as long as it's with consenting adults.
Yeah.
Additional, the lack of birth certificates gives unlimited power to FLDS elders over what happens to children who are born and indoctrinated into the polygamous FLDS lifestyle, said Utah attorney Roger Houle, who represented the mother in South Dakota case, and who has extensive experience representing people who have FLDS church. There are many children in FLDS who don't have birth certificates, who are part of the cult still, and they could be anyone knowing. Hulu said, "I think it's dangerous, really dangerous." I have to agree. A South Dakota Department of Health confirmed a news watch in May that prior by Davis, no births or deaths have ever been recorded from the Farmer Road address of the compound. Failure to obtain a birth certificate within 7 days of a birth is against South Dakota laws, which states the birth of every child born in the state shall be registered
Wow,
as
Wolfie.
per this chapter.
Anyone else hear Wolfie roboting?
Yeah, he's roboting.
Yeah, pretty bad.
I hate my internet.
Is it raining there?
No, but the clouds are moving in.
Do you have
lovely.
satellite then?
No, I have cell phone internet.
Ooh.
It's not connected to my cell phone, but I have a box that connects to the cell phone towers.
Mm-hmm.
It was the cheapest way to go.
I can understand that. That's part of the problem in some places in the country.
Am I roboting now?
You're good.
Much clearer.
Still got the
Now,
echo, but we can live with that.
the echo is not me. It's coming because I can hear it through my headphones.
I know it's not me.
Is somebody watching the video without it being on mute?
No, it wouldn't be this on. It wouldn't be this on time.
I was going to say I've got mine paused and muted, so.
Yeah, mine's muted.
All right.
I have mine running, but it's muted.
The other thing is about polygamy too. It's not really about polyamorous. I've been looking for polyamorous news, but Nothing really coming up.
Well, now that we have Mountain Man in here, he might already be part of some groups that have news about it.
Well, what specifically are you talking about?
Anything about being polyamorous?
Well, I know Oregon has been talking about relaxing some of the laws on that stuff, and I do know that Arizona has been strengthening some of the laws on that stuff. But I haven't been able to get specific news reports on it. However, I do know that the LGBTQ community has been pushing to have a bit more leeway when it comes to the polyamory lifestyle, especially here in the Pacific Northwest. They've been doing polyamorous awareness activism as part of their Pride events, which seem to be almost monthly now.
Yes, but one thing about polyamorous, not everybody is gay, because I'm not.
Oh, I know, and I'm not saying I am either. I'm
Stop
actually
lying,
very
sir,
straight.
fluffy butt.
Only for you and Birdside, Tara.
Shouldn't we give a definition of what it means for those that don't have a clue?
Yeah, that would actually be a good idea.
Well, Tara, it might be great to give somebody what our understanding of polyamory is.
My favorite, and it's the most simple explanation of it, is you're literally in a double-ended open relationship. You can have, as many boyfriends or girlfriends as you want while you're with someone, but they are your main person. That's your rock, but you have so much, I guess you could say, love to give that you need to spread it further. Otherwise, you smother the person that you're in love with.
That's a pretty serviceable definition.
The easiest way I can explain it is genetically, all of us, if you look throughout history, monogamy never really works. My father loved women. I love women. And I'd rather not cheat.
I can respect that.
I mean, you could actually pretty much say that that's the kind of relationship Burnside and I have right now. At least until something, more than it's complicated is determined. Hey, that's what my Facebook status says now.
Well, at least until after more, right?
Probably even after more. We already discussed it. He's not ready for a full commitment right now. He's pretty much married to work and other parts of life, but he's not interested in anyone else.
So I get where you're going with that. Yeah, see the way.
Though he likes to play with Siley and Kid.
Playing's one thing, as long as I know about it, I don't want, if he were to go and mess around with someone up there in Chicago, I don't care. I just don't ever want to see him or meet him. Because then I can put a face to the person that, messed with my man, and then my jealousy comes into play. And I don't want that to happen.
Right.
And he understands that.
So you want the South American model where, the man can have a mistress so long as he's smart enough not to bring her home to the wife.
Pretty much.
That's how it's done in old cultures. Is if you look at China, South America, and some other places, is the house is the wife's domain, and the wife governs that. And the man is allowed to have other mistresses because it's understood that the man's going to have sexual taste that the wife isn't going to be expected to do. So he can fool around with these other women, but he must always respect the wife by never bringing that home or acting like they are her equal. She is always superior to his mistresses.
Yeah, pretty much. Have any of you ever watched the show on BBC? It's on Netflix, Harlots.
I just started watching it. I've only been through the first episode.
No,
Okay,
should I watch it?
Yes, you should. Actually, it kind of goes along with the whole thing of what Tyro just explained. It's a society where the nobles, it's widely known that they have mistresses and the women have their lovers, but it's a secret thing. Or, well, not secret. It's, you know the whole thing. The best kept secret is, one that's not secret.
It's an open secret.
Yeah.
You don't talk about it. You don't acknowledge it, but everybody knows it's going on.
Exactly. That's exactly what is happening with one of the harlots on there. Yes, I actually like the show. I'm waiting for season 3 now.
I guess I'm kind of weird on my aspect and practices of polyamory because I don't have a problem meeting the other partners my partners have. And most of my partners actually get along and interact with each other.
I don't have a problem with that either.
Well, see, I'm a very, very jealous woman. And to the point that, my ex-husband had a mistress that he was actually going to leave me for. And I flat out told him with her on the phone that if I had to go and get her again, I was going to stab her and leave her on the side of the road.
I know to never fuck with you.
But yeah, I've always seen it as more of a just kind of an open communication situation. And to be fair, I tend to talk to my partners before I look at taking another partner. Yeah.
So I thought Burnside was supposed to be passed out right now.
He is supposed to be asleep right now.
Well, I can definitely say he isn't. Anyway, I sent him the link.
Okay, if he comes in, he can come in. I don't care.
Okay.
Last I knew, he was passed out. He may have
All
woken up and ready to do stuff.
So.
Only because he works tonight.
You know Pagan Kitten's also poly, right?
Who?
Pagan Kitten Butterfly. She's my wife.
Oh, cool. Cool. I think she and I ended up chatting a bit on your channel. Just kind of back and forth.
Yes, she's pretty... When she feels like you're online, she's pretty tough. Porpoise, great culture.
Oh, jeez, I mean.
All right. No. Anybody got any other news?
Let's see. News regarding polyamory? Let's see. Well, I mean, do you think, overall, do you think the media is going to get behind polyamory and try to normalize it? Do you see that?
That would be nice.
No, I think they're going to try and do a witch hunt. Now you're robotic, Mountain Man.
Wow. Yeah. Robotic Mountain Man. Skynet is taking over.
No, not Skynet. But my kitten says she's got news. And her news was she's going to be a brat.
She's going to be a brat. Oh. Yeah. Well, that usually involves spankings, choking, and other sundry things.
She's being a brat. I don't think she's being a Sam.
Wait, no, aren't spankings the solution to when someone's being a brat?
No, they're usually that way to get the spankings.
Right, exactly.
It all depends.
That's true. Okay, yes. The brats I've had, yes, if they start acting that way, the expectation is you bend them over and spank them, and so they stop being the brat.
Well, usually that's a
No,
Sam, a
because that's what they
sadomasochist.
want.
Exactly. That's why I don't play the Sam. I'm not a brat.
Yeah, brats are tricky. I don't deal well with the how I'm acting and what I'm saying isn't what I actually want. It's like, be straightforward.
Uh,
Okay, so
well,
you think the media is causing a witch hunt against polyamory as opposed to promoting it? Huh.
Yep.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I see a lot of positive representation. If you look at Vice, Cosmo, Women's Health, a lot of things aimed at women seem to be promoting the idea. You also have
They're more promoting cuckolding, though.
right. Well, cuckolding is related to it. I mean,
Well,
it's a
remember,
variant.
feminism.
I mean, cuckolding is a variant of polyamory. I mean, I know that not all polyamory is cuckolding, because the mindset is very different there. The purpose of cuckolding is some kind of like emotional masochism on the part of whoever is being cheated on. You have the cuck queen and cuckold, the male-female variants. I mean, that's being promoted a lot, and so the promotion of cuckolding as a fetish is certainly promoting a type of polyamory. But you also have like things like The Ethical Slut and other books also get promoted within the same sources as well.
Well, that's because feminism.
Right. Yeah, they make it
but
about the woman being able to have multiple male partners, and whoa, isn't that nice?
but not the men.
Right. Yeah, their focus is on look how good it is, ladies. And since most college graduates now are women, and because women are now starting to out earn men, because the wage gap is a myth. I think the current ratio is women make 107% of men when you control for education and field, and that's growing, not shrinking. So the so now like pushing that, women having more of the economic driver's seat. So maybe that's the idea. It's like, hey, woman, you're making all the money, so feel free to just date multiple of these loser guys, and you don't have to take them seriously. So, because haha, you can string them all along.
Yeah, but see, I think that's going to actually cause more problems than people think because, well, I mean, first of all, take a look at the sales on 50 Shades of Grey and even the number of sales on the movie The Secretary when it came out. There are a lot of women that like to have a strong male presence.
True.
And so I think this whole myth that women can control everything is really a myth. There needs to be give and take from all sides. There needs to be functional life for all intents and purposes. I mean, God, this is going to make me sound bizarrely out of touch with reality. But there is differences between men and women. And regardless what the news media wants to claim about it, regardless what the Democrat Party likes to claim, there's differences.
Yes, David Spader was in The Secretary.
Yeah, I have not watched The Secretary yet. That came out when I was in college. I've heard very good things about it, though. Like,
make me feel old, Tyro.
Tyrone, I actually own it, so next movie night we can all watch it.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, no, I remember when I was in college, we had our gay group. I forgot their exact name, but the LGBT. We had our LGBT group, and then within that, then you had the split off, which was the kink group. They made the mistake though of having their first meeting on April 1st. So everybody thought that the kink group was just a practical joke by the LGBT folks, and so almost no one showed up. And then everyone who went there, it's like, no, we meant it. It's legit. And I was like, oh, You were serious. Well, don't put it on April 1st then. Put it on April 2nd. Remember, Secretary is one of the movies that they like to watch. Like there was like a yearly screening of that at our college after that came out. Had a lot of fans.
Well, because it's actually been one of the better mainstream BDSM representative movies. It's not perfect, not by any means, but it's a lot better than many
50
others.
Shades.
Much better than 50 Shades. There was another one.
I think 50 Shades. Another one out of what?
There's another one out of France, Diaries of a Nymphomaniac. It's a two-parter.
I've heard of that one. That's got Shia LaBeouf in it, doesn't it?
I think he does show up in it, but he's not one of the main characters. And there's some discussion of alternative lifestyles, kink, and poly in it. And it's got some definite distinctive representation in the communities as well. But there's a lot of crossover.
Don't forget the 1975 version of Story of O.
True, there's the 1975 version of the Story of O. But that one's hard to find anymore.
I've got it.
I can't remember the last time I saw that. That's been a while.
Falcon Millennial says, I have to say it, most jobs that women tend to try and get are not reliable, as in that field may not be there in 10 years. Aircraft maintenance will be. Many women don't try and get into that.
Wait, what's this?
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily true, Falcon Millennial. There are a lot of job fields that women are in predominantly that are very stable.
Yeah.
Medical care is a primary example of them. Same with a lot of different care fields.
Well, you have medical, you have teaching, but even there, you have a lot of women are moving into HR. A lot of corporate positions are now being filled by women because women comprise the majority of bachelor's degrees. They are also starting to comprise the majority of the professional workforce in the U.S.
Yes, they are.
And, well, it's not a good thing because one thing we know from polls and from behavior studies, female bosses are among the least good to have. You know, women prefer male bosses to female bosses, and men generally prefer male bosses to female. Female bosses are not good, usually.
Well, I guess realistically that depends, because I've worked with some female bosses that I liked, and I've worked with a lot of them I didn't. And so a lot of it depends on the individual. So,
oh yeah, and there's exceptions. I'm simply talking about trends.
Now, if you're talking about trends, you're completely correct. But like I said, a lot of that also, I've worked with some really bad male bosses as well. Man, so.
Oh yeah.
Hello.
Hey, Scoob, how you doing?
Hey, Scooby.
What's going on?
What's up,
We're
Stewie?
talking about being polyamorous.
Oh. Oh.
and I figured since back in the day you used to be a man whore.
I wouldn't call that exactly accurate.
Oh, really? The stories you have told me.
Fine player.
Okay, I could go with that one. Just curious, how long are you guys going to be on the air?
Until 8 o'clock.
Oh, okay. You know what? I'm gonna hop back out and hop back in because I was actually gonna sit and talk to you guys while I was eating dinner with my wife, but I don't think I can talk about this right now. But I promise, it's only Taco Bell, so I should actually wolf it down in about 5-10 minutes. So I'll be right back.
Right.
All right.
Well, then you also got to budget in the 20 minutes on the toilet.
No, believe me, I'm a Navy guy's son. It's gonna take a lot more than fake Mexican food to dent this can. I'll be back.
I'm joking.
Got it.
Now, if only we could get Burnside to get his happy ass in here.
Well, I
Yeah.
sent him the link, so if he's awake, he's got no excuse.
But Tara, one of the things I think that we're going to be facing here soon is with the push for the age difference community, quote, I think, and the fact that that's also being associated with the polyamory and the other communities. I think that's going to cause far more problems than the polyamory community in and of itself. Even the FLDS, I think, is far less of an issue than this age difference movement.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean where they're trying to get the pedophiles to be part of, it's like being gay?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly what I'm talking about. I think that's going to cause us far more harm.
No, I don't know.
Okay, well,
Guys...
see, I'm going to say real quick, I understand that it's actually an issue. It's a real thing that you're actually born that way and the way you always think. However, there's a difference between being gay and being a pedophile. Being gay is between two consenting adults. Being a pedophile is harming a child.
I agree.
So I don't know if you guys saw though. So on that note, so in Sweden right now, if you oppose child marriage, you are a Nazi. That is
okay.
That is the new line, according to Politico Europe. The what they are characterizing as far right are people who oppose child marriage.
And I will be the first to agree with y'all that any kind of pedophilia in any aspect is deranged and abusive. And I've seen this as well, man. And this article from Politico is disturbing to me because, I mean, some of those Scandinavian countries have some of the lowest ages of consent to begin with.
Yeah.
So
that is Sweden. We should not drag Denmark into this. The Danes have many swear words to describe the Swedes, and it looks like all of them are correct.
Well, that's true as well, that Denmark does have a very unusual age of consent as well.
Well, at least my Swede isn't as deranged as them.
I don't disagree. Well, actually, no, I do disagree with you on that, Tara, because he goes on his tirade rants all the time.
Okay, no, he's not the wanting to marry the old enough to bleed, old enough to breed type.
No, but that is still some of the insanity of the Swedes is that that hard temper that tirades.
Yeah, you get used to it.
I know. I'm okay with it. It's just I'm saying that's part of the genetic makeup. But yeah, I honestly think that the Hearts Progress crowd is going to be the bigger challenge for the alternative communities, whether it be kink or poly, or even the furry, the LGBTQ.
Yeah, I don't think now when it comes to the normalization of that stuff, I'm still trying to figure out how it's going to come because they can't just out and out say, "Oh, hey, having sex with underage kids is fine. Let's push for that." They can't do that because the average person, the normies, will say no on that one. So there's too much backlash, and they're aware of that. They can't market it that way. It's all about marketing. When you want to push a progressive agenda, you have to market it the right way. You have to boil the frog slowly, as they say.
Well, see what they've already started to do is that they just recently there was a psychology paper published stating that the minor attracted persons are a similar concept to, say, homosexuality or kink, in that it's an alternative sexual construct.
They're starting it in academia. I see. Okay.
Yeah. That's where they're going to roll it from, man. Because if they can roll it through academia and get enough academics supporting it, then they can fool the lay person who doesn't do anything but watch, CBS News.
Right.
And then here's these reports: pedophilia is not as bad as we thought it was. And all of a sudden.
Well, they can't call it pedophilia. They can't call it pedophilia. Same way, like with gay marriage. I mean, they can't call it, you know, sodomy marriage. I mean, they got rid of they have to change the vocabulary.
Mm-hmm. Which is why they're pushing this minor attracted person.
Yeah,
That's their new acronym for it. MAP, minor attracted person.
right.
And the more they push this terminology in this it's a socially alternative lifestyle theory.
Yeah,
The more likely they are to get the normies to buy into it.
actually, I think your term there, like difference in age or age difference romance. I think that might pop up. Another term that might come up. Japan actually has this concept already. The lesbian community in Japan. It's called June October or May June. It's something to do with like the months for it, but it deals with where a lesbian relationship where one of the women is significantly older than the other. I'll try to look that up, but there are some terms for it already in the gay community. I could see them perhaps relying on one of those that way as a way to couch it into the LGBT movement.
Well, like I said, the term minor attracted person is one that I've been seeing out of psychology a lot lately. And they use the acronym MAP for it, literally, capital M, capital A, capital P. And I think that's going to actually be the term they try to rally behind.
Okay. Yeah,
because it's really PC.
Yeah. And we saw that with Gamergate, too. Like, one thing Sargon did pretty well when he dissected the Gamergate start is the anti-gamer stuff began in academia. You had academic papers first decrying gamer as an identity, saying that, oh, hey, this is what white males are using. Okay, we need to break this down and attack it because diversity. And then when that was decided, then you started seeing the news articles about it pushing that agenda. But academia decided it first. And plus, also, if it's common in academia, that means when people enter college, they can brainwash the incoming college kids and say, hey, this is normal, this is fine. And then that's how they brainwash the next generation to start that next blade going forth. Okay, I found the term May-December romance. That's the and apparently I thought it was just lesbian. Turns out it's any kind of drastic age difference. So like Anna Nicole Smith and her oil tycoon hubby there, the guy who was in his 90s or something like that. That's May-December.
I can see how that would be in use now in Japan. That's a fairly PC nomenclature for it.
Yeah. So I would expect to see May-December romance be a common slang you probably see a start associated with this. They'll probably, even though it's supposed to be between two adults, they'll probably start reusing that because it's very innocuous sounding.
It's still a crap.
Oh, I don't disagree with you on that, Tara. And I also know that some people are trying to use some of the Romeo and Juliet laws to start pushing that agenda as well.
I'm sorry if you're hearing a baby crying. It's upstairs.
But with the Romeo and Juliet laws especially, they're starting to try to push the age of consent down a bit more. Because, 16-year-old can consent to a 19-year-old. Why can't they consent to a 21-year-old?
Hey, we have a Zell in the chat. Neat.
We have who?
Zell.
We have a Zell. Yay!
Huh. Maybe we... no, I won't make the joke. But yeah, no, as for Polly, let's see. So wait, so who here actually has engaged or is engaging or has engaged in Polly?
I have.
Huh?
I have.
I'm actually still a member of a Poly group on FetLife.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Wow.
I've been Poly for more than 10 years.
Okay. Well, all right. So the three of you have had positive experience. I've had bad experience, unfortunately.
No, mine was kind of bad.
Okay. Yeah,
mine was with my ex-husband.
Yeah. I would say the most stable arrangement I found is a closed triad can work in theory. But beyond that, most of the ones I've seen have blown up. A lot of I think the biggest problems I've seen with the poly is, and the problem, this is one I ran into too, is you just keep adding people because, oh hey, you're nice, come join our poly group. Oh hey, you're nice, come join our poly group. And there's so it's all about the new relationship energy, and that supersedes the consideration of, will this actually work? And so when the new relationship energy wears off, suddenly this massive multi-dimensional polygon of doom that has been assembled out of a relationship just explodes spectacularly with, oh god, yeah, no.
Well, see, I think that's where you're having trouble there. So bear me out with this. One of the ways I deal with a lot of this is I seriously talk with my partners about all the relationships if we're considering adding another person in any aspect. And
communication is a must.
yeah, communication is very essential, because without communicating and hearing their feedback on the situation, you end up with that kind of stuff happening. Now, you're also right, stretching yourself too thin is a very easy thing to accomplish. And that's where you were talking about that whole, it's all about new relationships energy. So you got to be very careful about that. You've got to make sure to make time for anyone involved. And so it's a constant balancing that. And it's one of those things I will be the first to admit, fewer is definitely more in a lot of situations, this kind of stuff.
Okay.
Because when you start talking to a new person that you're interested in bringing in, you need to have some chemistry. Your other partners need to be comfortable.
That's right. And before anything, it's always good to have them meet them first to make sure they have chemistry too, so they can say yay or nay.
Well, and that also depends, on how your relationship with that particular partner works. Some of my partners are not bi, some of them are. And so... That's not what I'm... Go ahead, man.
That's not what I meant by chemistry. I meant the chemistry to be able to get along.
Well, and that too, but there's also that other aspect there.
Because I know everybody is different.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. So I did find this one article here from Women's Health magazine. It's from today. So it is 6 questions that reveal if you should try polyamory. And not all the questions are about jealousy, is the subheadline. So it starts off with Scarlett Johansson telling Playboy, "I don't think it's natural to be a monogamous person." Let's see. So then it goes on to try to explain poly relationships or intimate relationships that involve more than 2 people. Boom. But there is a wide range. Okay. Requires a lot of negotiating. It's not the same thing as an open relationship. It's also different from polygamy. All right. So question 1 that they pose. How jealous are you? Can you really handle seeing your partner date other people? This is the most obvious question, but also the most important and the hardest to answer, says one of the people they interviewed. Even when a given partner doesn't want to be jealous or possessive, monogamy is so heavily ingrained in our culture, some people just can't get there. So this is something I'm not sure I like, is they make it sound like becoming poly or being able to be poly is somehow like transcending monogamy. Like monogamy is imposed on you by society as opposed to what you are probably biologically wired for. It's kind of for a lot of people, it's the normal state. Like poly can work with some people, but it's not how everyone is wired. Some people are wired for poly and can sustain it. Some people are wired for monogamy and are just basically fooling themselves. So I know this talk like poly is somehow above or higher than monogamy. That bothers me. And I saw some of that in the poly groups I was in.
You're not wrong there. I definitely don't think that's a great way to look at it, because it's different. It's not better or worse. It's just different.
Yeah.
Poly and monogamy each have their own struggles.
You're roboting a bit, Wolfie, or Mr. What's your nickname for
Fluffy Butt?
Fluffy Butt. Sorry, I was about to say Fuzzy Butt. Fluffy Butt. Okay.
Fuzzy Butt works too.
No. Can you hear me now?
It's you, Sir Fluffy Butt.
All right. No, that's a little bit better. Yeah.
I gotta go take the dog OUT.
It was that was my. Now I lost my train of thought since everybody went to the Fluffy Butt thing.
Well, we were talking about poly being held as some kind of higher form than monogamy.
No, we each have our own struggles, and
you're roboting.
Each side, the thing that I've seen most God, internet.
Yeah, just when you get back on track, you start roboting.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
What I'm saying is each side have their downfalls. A lot of the problems that I see with monogamous relationship is lack of communication. They don't talk. That's the only downside I see about that. And that's why you have cheaters. That's why you have mistresses and girls who go out and seek the pool boy or whatever.
Right. Yeah, people don't communicate. Yeah, lack of communication is bad regardless of the form of your relationship. I'll agree with that. Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, my parents talked all the time. That's why they were married for 30 plus years. Well,
but there's a big difference between talking and communicating. You've got to be able to communicate effectively, and that requires both sides to be willing to communicate.
Right, exactly.
That's one of the big difficulties I've found, no matter what type of relationship, is getting all parties involved to communicate.
Yeah. All right. Question 2 from Women's Health. Is this something you both want? Okay. Often, one partner is more into the idea of experimenting with the polyamorous lifestyle than the other. Let's see. That creates a power imbalance. The slightly hesitant partner, who is often participating to satisfy their partner and keep from losing them altogether, suffers, as does the relationship. Okay. Yeah, again, that goes back to the communication. I think we've all agree on that one. Let's see. Question 3. What is your and your partner's motivation? There are a few common goals that signal the arrangement might be a positive experience. One major one, feeling limited by monogamy. If you and your partner both feel that your monogamous relationship isn't quite meeting your needs for closeness and intimacy, and that no monogamous relationship really could, might be a signal that poly is a better fit for you. Good motivation might be as simple as wanting more love and intimacy in your life and wanting to see your partner be happy. Is that so what was your guys' motivations then? That we'll throw this one out. Curious.
Wolfie, do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
You're the first time on the stream right now, so you go first.
Well, so for me, a lot of it boiled down to sexual preferences. My wife was not into any kind of kinks whatsoever. And I've been into kinks, since before I left high school. Had my first threesome in high school, actually. So I needed more diversity in my bedroom activity than she felt comfortable with. And so we opened up to the actions of poly so that I could get what I needed. And while I was getting what I needed, she could spend time with somebody else that would give her still more of what she needed. And we could work it out together.
Okay. So in your case, it was okay. So that would tie to the intimacy part. You felt that you could not. You needed more intimacy.
Well, not
Or
so
a
much. Not so much more, so much as a different type.
Right. And being kinky myself, I understand the difference between, like, if I was stuck with someone who was just vanilla, yeah, that wouldn't be great. Like, it's like, oh, I would definitely feel bored, at least on the sex front.
Yeah.
Oh, what about you, Wolfie?
Pretty much. I'm attracted to females big time. It doesn't matter how many. Well, yeah, it does matter how many. I'm getting old. But like I said, I don't want to end up like my father getting a divorce over cheating. I'd rather keep things open and fair. Keeping the community and keeping it to where, not community, but keeping the communication. And what's fair for me, I'm not going to do it to my wife. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say, no, you can't do it to my sub or anything like that. What's fair for me is fair for you as well. So, I don't know if that makes any sense.
So for you, it was both fairness, like you were attracted to others. So yeah, so let's see, yeah. So for your case, yeah, wanting more love, kind of deal. You know, you were like, hey, I have a lot of love, but at the same time, I'm going to let others also pursue more love. Oh, okay, all right. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, my attraction to poly was having more minds because one of my key turn-ons is the sapiosexual aspect.
Yes.
In terms of intellect, I require intelligent partners. So finding that, and then the geek outs that happen when you're just like one-on-one and you're geeking out with somebody, and how they get even more spectacular when you add more. That's kind of what I was going for with the poly. And again, it was working pretty well. Unfortunately, we had some unstable elements in there that I didn't catch, because even though intellectually it was great, emotionally, not so much. I missed out. I missed that.
That's actually one of the reasons why I can't really do poly like that. The way Burnside and I have it set up right now is just an open relationship. I've been in poly, and that's why I know that, if he were to be with someone, I don't want to meet them, or if you end up having me meet them, don't tell me they're the person you fucked. Because then my brain goes to, and how many people did they fuck? And how many people did their partners fuck?
Yeah.
And this is where communication and trust and, clear boundaries all come back into play. You've got to have those clear boundaries about how you can behave with other partners.
Well, mine's, like I said, mostly a jealousy thing. My emotions, because I'm bipolar. My ex-husband, we had the master-slave relationship, and one of his slaves was becoming a little too enamored with him. To the point where she was saying, oh, I wish I was his legal wife and stuff like that. And finally, I flat out told her, I was like, if you want to be his legal wife, then you're going to have to fight me first. And I guarantee you, I played dirty, and I will stab you right in front of your child. I was like, so you have one of two choices. Either stop saying it or leave your child motherless. Which one do you want? She decided she was going to stop saying it.
Well, why would she say it in front of you? I mean, that's the jeez. That's stupid.
Because she was a 24-year-old nitwit.
Yeah, okay, we'll go with that. That sounds right. All right, question 4 from Women's Health magazine. All right, how secure do you feel in your current relationship? So actually, okay. So,
I am very secure in my what relationship Burnside and I have.
Okay. So like
Mountain Man?
Wolfie, well, Sarah, we'll start with Mountain Man again. So Mountain Man. So when you did the open relationship or did the polyamory route, like how secure were you with your marriage and so on?
Well, realistically, that's going to be a bad question there. The better question would be how stable did I feel in most of my relationships? And
Stable. Yeah, that's a better word.
That comes down to I felt very comfortable in most of my relationships, not all of them, because once again, in kind of an open poly situation, relationship dynamics change. And so there were several instances where I thought I was going to bring somebody in and then changed my mind because behavior or compatibility issues sprang up as I was trying to introduce them. You know, so that's where I would go. I feel fairly confident in my relationships as they stand currently, even though a lot of mine are going to be changing over the next month.
I'm going to say it this way because my wife is being a brat. She says I'm stuck with her. So, yeah, I feel quite comfortable. My other sub is very, very caring, very, very understanding, even when I'm having a bad day. So yeah, I feel quite comfortable.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So question 5. What ground rules do you want to establish? Okay, so the export here says, once things get going, you might find yourself surprised that you aren't always on the same page with your partner. Set up guidelines. Before starting any new relationships, talk through the logistics. What behaviors are okay? Is anyone off limits? Will you spend time together as a group and meet your partner's partners? Okay. So, like Tara, you've already covered this. It's like the answer is no to meeting other partners. It's like
yeah, but I do have other guidelines. Like they must be of the legal federal age of consent, which is 18.
Right. Well, that just
they must have it within the last 3 months an STD test done.
One that they pay for, or that you pay for, like.
They can go to any health department and get one done for free.
Oh, that's true.
In most hospitals, you go in there saying, I'm with a new partner and I'm worried they've had multiple. They'll give you a free STD test.
Huh.
Been there, done that. That's how I know. Preferably, I don't want my significant other's partner to have any children because I don't want him getting attached to their kids and their kids getting attached to him. Should anything go wrong, then I'm going to get phone calls and shit. And I've had this shit happen. So, their partner, their other love interest cannot have children. Also, condoms are a must at all times. If they're allergic to latex, I'm okay with using the sheepskin, even though it only protects against pregnancy, hence the STD testing.
Right.
I have to agree with the testing part. Everybody should be clean. But I'd like to eventually meet my others. That way I can know we're all compatible. Hey, maybe one day have a big happy family. But that's me. I guess it.
Sister wives.
Well, so I don't disagree with y'all on the testing. Testing is definitely important. I don't disagree on safe protection. Safe protection is definitely a must. I actually keep latex-free condoms. Not sheepskin, Tara, but actual latex-free.
Yeah, Trojan has skin to skin. It's the synthetic sheepskin.
Actually, I'm talking about the Lifestyles skin, which is it's a polyurethane.
Don't they still use spermicide in them? Because
Nope,
I'm
they have
allergic
them.
to spermicide.
They have them without spermicide as well. They're just harder to find.
Yeah, I have a hard time finding them. That's because I'm allergic to latex and spermicide, so I can't use condoms of any type at all.
Ouch.
That sucks.
So that's why I'm really, really big on the STD testing. I mean, the only people I've been with since Burnside and I have decided that there's something, but we don't know what it is, are people that I've known for years. And then when I hooked up with an ex and he gave me a UTI, I cut that shit off.
Mm-hmm. No, that's completely legit. Now,
Okay.
I do also agree with Sir Wolfie there in that I do like to eventually meet my other's partners, and I like to know who they are. Partially because, a lot of times you do share interests, and there are times when you can go and do a big. I'm heavily involved in the kink community in the area. I like to go out to events at the clubs, host kink events, and do public kink actions. And so a lot of times you can go as a group to those kind of events. And so I like to know what's going on, who's there.
Huh.
Oh, I didn't notice Silea left.
Yeah. Now,
She's at work.
now with
Ah.
the behaviors things like ground rules and stuff. One example this article gives is like, when is it acceptable to go on a date with somebody as opposed to attending an event with somebody else? Like, when is it okay to prioritize being with one person over another, and so on? Do you guys usually work that out, or how do you usually work that out? Like, what hierarchy do you give?
So a lot of that comes down to, always for me, it's come down to kind of common courtesy. Primaries are primaries.
Mm-hmm.
So like an anniversary with a primary supersedes time with a secondary. Just does. An event or an agreed upon activity with a primary always supersedes anything you want to do with a secondary. It's just kind of, it's a courtesy thing.
Primary always comes first, but I am going to say this: you do, as a guy with multiple custody, even as possible, and sometimes that's not always the case.
Oh yeah.
Make sure you have understanding partners. Your primary comes first.
Well, and I mean, a lot of times with your primary, if you treat them first, they'll also understand when it's like your secondary's anniversary and not cause a big deal about it. Just make sure they're different dates.
Alrighty.
Hey, Scoop.
Going
Hey-o.
down.
We were
So,
just talking.
So, can we get any wise sage advice from the former man who?
I wasn't a man who
Yes, you were.
I didn't really philander. Depending on who you talk to, I could be labeled cavalier. I could be labeled Lothario. It's just a matter of opinion.
Who?
I dated a lot. I didn't sleep around. I tried to have relationships with any girl I was ever intimate with. I put a lot of actually the onuses on the women in this situation. A lot of them were not interested in anything with longevity. They were just looking for a good time. So,
Well, man.
I've noticed that. Matt, man, let me ask you, because I know you play the field yourself. Have you noticed, especially like these younger girls, in the past 10 years, they've become a lot more aggressive?
They have.
Yeah.
I've noticed,
Sorry, I had to be a daddy.
I've noticed, especially at pirate events, when I'm, pouring stuff from behind the bar or such, and they're coming up, and they're far more likely to try to overstep boundaries.
Yeah, I've been getting that a lot myself. one of the things I was joking. I said, I forget who I said it to about the hashtag Me Too thing. I said, it's unfortunate that men who work, like you said, as bartenders and security guards are just going to get dismissed, because I'm sure plenty of us have very interesting tales that none of the women want you to hear. Like these feminists who are saying things. I mean, I could probably tell them stories that would make their toes curl.
Oh, you mean like the lady who reached past my belt line in my kilt when she tipped me?
Yeah, things like that nature. I used to actually keep, when I was working security at this one bar, I'm not going to name it because it's actually famous. It's even been on a few TV shows. So I don't want to draw any heat for the stream. But I had worked there a few times. I rotated in as a favor for a friend of mine. And the name of the place is nicknamed the Meat Market. And I actually, after the first time I worked there at the door, the second time I worked there, I remember to grab a hemorrhoid donut because my ass was killing me on the way home because I was getting pinched so much.
You worked at Chippendale.
My wife just laughed when she heard me say that. You remember that?
No.
I'll tell you, the place I was working at. Remember when you came to visit? Don't say the name; they can get in trouble. The place you came to, yeah, that place.
When we started dating.
Yes, that's enough. No more information because they can get in trouble on the air. All right. Yeah, that was probably about like 17 or 18 years ago.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I didn't know Katz's Deli was such a wild happening place.
No, this was a really big one of those places that the nickname for again, not this place's nickname, but places like this, they would refer to them as Chuck E. Cheese with alcohol. Yeah, I'm sure you got an idea of what type of place I'm talking about.
It sounds like you're talking about a furry convention.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, God.
You say furry convention, and all I think is CSI Las Vegas.
I put it in the side chat. Yes, I was the guy that would stand there in the suit and tie, and bark, "Have your ID ready. If you don't have your ID, you can't come in." You know, that was me. And I'd be standing there checking ID, and all of a sudden I'd get goosed. And it was usually one of the girls whose ID I was checking. And I'm not gonna lie, it happened a lot with the guys too.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, I was just, that's why I was asking.
I knew you'd work that way.
No, I'm just
very cute at the time, but no, I think Catherine might get old.
You talking shit about me getting older there, Methuselah? Really? I'm the one that keeps getting told that I'm some sort of like catch or something on the internet. Let me put you on. More likely than not, ICE will have to come to the door and I'll have to show documentation that you were born here.
Don't talk to her like that. I want her to let me come and visit.
Oh, she'll let you come and visit. Believe me, she's very good with people coming to visit. After we've had visitors in the past, and you should have no trouble coming to visit.
At least I'm not, you know
who. Yeah. But anyway, that kind of like derailed my whole line of thought what I was going with. But yeah, no, I just
like Steve, I get where you're going with that. I mean, to be fair, like I said, last year about this time, I was getting all set up to do like some public demos, and that night I did those. I didn't get a second's rest because I was on stage and I'd come off and I'd immediately have to go back up because I'd have somebody already waiting in line.
Yeah.
And I mean, and this was at a private party, mind you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
so yes, these ladies are getting more aggressive about this stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I don't really think I can really be called like a player or anything that much. I actually was like the type, I was trying to talk to them that they didn't want to be bothered the next day. But then the next weekend, they're looking for me again in the bar. So, that was the thing, was because I didn't sleep around per se, and I didn't have a reputation for that. So any woman that wound up actually,
you're a robot.
I am. Damn it! Hold on,
you're
let me try
robot,
this.
man.
All right, let me get 5 then.
Okay. I guess we're all getting caught on that, aren't we?
I don't think I've roboted yet.
Nope.
Of course,
All right.
watch. I just jinked myself.
But you just
All right.
kind of did.
All right. Am I? Do I sound better?
That's better.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Uh,
I'm actually need to get going. I'm starting to fall asleep a bit here, so I'm gonna
Ooh,
go.
sorry, I couldn't be more entertaining.
Huh?
I'm sorry,
All
I
right.
couldn't be more entertaining.
No. It's okay. It's not on you. It's just I've had a long day. Whew.
Scooby, you're killing me. I'm getting out of here.
Tyrell, you should come into voice chat more often someday.
All right. Yeah, I should have. I'll go ahead and show myself. I'm working on a new video. I got the script done. Just need to record it. That should be up soon. And I've got a collaboration video with Lo-Fi here in the works. We've started working out a few details, getting some script on it together. I'm going to try some with the collab video. I'm going to experiment with some new audio stuff. See if I can boost the quality here a little bit. Yeah, just having fun.
Sounds
All
good.
right. I'll talk to you guys later.
You got it.
Later.
Be good, bro.
Bye.
But yeah, what was I saying before I started robot? Nah, it changed a lot. I mean, like when we were younger, like teenagers, maybe even a little bit younger than that, it was different. Like I remember, like in the late '80s, early '90s, everything was about the alpha male and this, that, and the third. Then all of a sudden in the '90s, everything became like that. The precursor to the feminism, that women's liberation or whatever it was. So a lot of like when I was dating, it was more that the girls weren't interested in having any longevity. That's part of the reason I grabbed onto my wife so fast when I met her, was because she was like a normal girl. The rest of them were all skanks. No, seriously, I mean, it was like damn near impossible not to find somebody who wasn't a floozy that didn't look like her parents were Quasimodo in a dump truck. I mean, you have no idea. I mean, for me to find a woman with values like my wife was damn near impossible. She either, like was the town bicycle, or she was a nice girl, but she could haunt a 9-room house from the porch. There was really no like middle ground. I know it's horrible. I'm not a superficial person per se, but I mean, you got to have some attraction, and it wasn't there. So I met her and started talking to her, and my boy, introduced me to her. He's like, listen, I know her. I've known her for years. She's a nice girl, a decent girl. And, he's like, you'd be a fool not to, like, grab onto this one. So I said, okay, I met her. I liked her. Her family hated me, but fuck them. I was more interested in her. Yeah, her family hates me. Bunch of Democrats. But, I mean, I got nothing against the poly thing now. I mean, nowadays, with the way our society is starting to has restructured in certain tiers, there's a lot more people more open to it. Fuck it. I mean, hell, Mountain Man's a friend of mine. He's poly. I tell him all the time, hey, God bless you. I mean, I got her, and that's enough to deal with. I can imagine when you have to have that. Oh my God, you poor guy. If you weren't pagan, bro, they'd make you a saint.
Hey, I'm pagan and poly and everything.
Oh yeah, that's. But you're also into bondage. I mean, you can actually gag yours. That's.
Hey, I am too, man. I am too.
Oh, okay. So see that then you have the same out as well. Yeah. We're playing a game, honey. Yeah, just put this in your mouth and be quiet for a few minutes. Yeah, this is foreplay. Sure. Okay. Let's check the score. Let's see how are the Knicks doing. I know I'm a jackass. That's why you love me.
Man, I actually haven't watched a basketball game in almost 15, 20 years.
That's why you got to invest in ball gags.
No, actually, my primary doesn't like ball gags. She prefers bits.
That's cool. My wife doesn't prefer anything. She's vanilla like me. Which, honestly, living here in New York, the prices on this shit, I thank God she's not into anything. Because I used to hang with a girl who was into shit. Oh my God, the bills were exorbitant.
Oh, that's why you got to make your own.
Yeah. Again, New Yorkers, they have to buy everything in the village, handmade by some guy named Pierre with a blue mustache or some shit. So, oh, look, your whip is not a Pierre. The fuck? Who cares if it's if it's not a Pierre? You know, you'll have people that'll say you'll actually deal with S&M snobbery in the village. It's amazing.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah, these people will find anything to stick their nose in the air about. Like they'll actually argue with you. There's a trend in the city. This is why when people talk shit to me about California, I'm like, yeah, that's nice. California, it's just the craziness is in the open. People don't notice the crazy shit that goes on over here. There's a collection of bars around here, and what these bars will do is you go in and you hang out. It's not a bar per se. You don't drink. What they do is they stick a tube up your ass and they shoot you up with 10 pounds of yogurt. And
Ew.
and then they stick another tube up your ass for when they do the extraction. And people will actually chide each other because they didn't go to the one on 45th. They went to the one on 27th instead. And only people who don't have money go to the one on 27th. This is the type of shit these people will actually hold over each other.
Oh man, talk about insane.
Yeah.
Insane in the membrane.
Which is why I stopped dating a few years ago. I got with her. I've been happier since. Honestly, though, for people in other parts of the country where they're not surrounded by crazy people, fucking A, date as many people as you can. Rock on. I'm all for that. I support anything that don't hurt nobody, you know?
Yeah. And that's one of the things we've been kind of talking about is, you got to make sure there's communication and acceptance all the way around or it doesn't really work.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm more accepting than most people.
Scooby, Jacob says, what the fuck, Scooby? What the fuck?
Which part of it? He has to be he has to be specific. I've been rambling for a few minutes. I probably offended him on a few levels.
I think it was the yogurt thing.
Jacob, I'm not into that, Jake. Sorry.
I guess he didn't realize it used to be high colonics.
Yeah.
He's saying all of it.
Yeah.
Oh, also, Jacob, you got to remember, out those areas, they also used to shoot hot coffee up your ass.
Oh,
high colonic, yep.
Oh, we still have coffee enemas.
Yep.
I didn't mention them because I figured the yogurt was a bit of a doozy. But if you want a coffee enema, you can go over to 65th and 2nd for that.
No, thank you.
I actually prefer putting stuff in the other end myself. So when I'm in the city, I try to go over onto 2nd and 5th for the Hawaiian. It's a Hawaiian taco joint, or is it 5th and 2nd? I can't remember. Either way, there's good food on both of those streets. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I liked dating when I was younger. I mean, again. That's part of the reason, like, the Democrats hated me, because they'd be sitting there talking about diversity as strength, and I'm like, yeah, let me show you some of the broads I know. Yeah, this is Blessy. Yeah, she's from India. Oh yeah, this girl right here, that's Gunta. She's from she's Saudi Arabian. This girl, that's not what we mean, Scooby. Oh, okay. What do you mean then? I thought we're talking diversity. We don't want to know about the notches in your headboard. Oh well, they're all diverse. Not one of them's white.
Yeah.
I've never been with a white girl, quote unquote. A couple of Italian girls, but they don't really count. Yeah, basically, my taste has always ran dark women. Round, brown, low to the ground. That's how I like them. Yeah, they usually don't. I mean, I've had a few. Actually, no, I take that back. I was with a white girl. She was a Mormon, and she was 6'2". She was beautiful, but my God, she had huge feet. I mean, gigantic, huge. I showed Tara a picture of her. She actually was. She was a model at one point. Yeah, but I usually dated mostly girls from the Mediterranean, the Middle East, South America, a couple Native American chicks. My ex-girlfriend was actually Peruvian Indian, one of those people that with the llamas with those weird-looking hats and the the big ass blanket that they would wear with the flute. They actually had pictures of those peoples in our house. I'm like, oh, what's with all that? Oh, those are my mother's people. Oh, okay. Nice girl, but she stunk. She had like a musk to her. You know? Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Never dated any Asian girls. Oh well, Indian subcontinent is considered Asia. Oh, I don't know. I never dated any yellow folk. Nope. I take that back. I dated a Japanese girl in college, but it only lasted 2 dates. She didn't speak English. I didn't know what the hell she was saying. So.
Sounds like me and that Czech girl. She couldn't speak German. She only spoke Czech. I didn't speak Czech. She didn't speak English. It was all sorts of problems.
Yeah. Yeah, language barriers can be a mother. Well, it's weird actually. Two girls I never really dated them. It was a weird situation because like we would hang out together. I'd be hanging with the one sister and the other one would show up. And there was like a tension between the two of them. I didn't find out till years later that they both actually liked me and were trying to compete for me. But at the same time, they were actually also dating somebody else. So it was a really weird thing. And this is the truth of it, actually. I just found out last week that the one sister became a New York Times and USA Today bestseller author. So that kind of came out of left field. But I don't know. Long story short, too late. To anyone out there dating, yeah, just you don't have to tether yourself down. If you want to eventually like get married to one person, that's fine. That's off down the road a little bit. But yeah, just play the field. Be honest. Like, look, I'm seeing other people. You know, don't be an idiot. Use protection. Make sure you talking to somebody, and don't immediately go home with somebody the first time. Look, try to have a bit of an ego about it. Consider yourself a hot commodity. Screen the girl or guy if that's your thing. Screen them. Make sure that when you talk to them a few times that they're not a dirtbag. Instead of going out with them, going home with them the first time you meet them, why don't you wait till like the 6th or the 7th time? Hang out with them a few times. Make sure. Look, it's your body. You should be really like. I was talking to a woman once, and I said to her, I go, I'm picky with the people I go home to sleep with. She's like, oh, so should I be flattered? I said, yeah, you should. You really should because it's a two-way street. I mean. Who the fuck are you? You just lay on your back. I do all the performance here. If anything, you should be actually jockeying for position to get with me. And she looked stunned that I said that. But that's really how you have to think because it isn't like it used to be. I mean, the women want the equality. Well, part of that equality is, well, look, if I'm a stud and a stallion, what are you bringing to the table? And that's really how these guys have to think about this. And stop being soy boys because that's the reason that these women are getting so aggressive is because any guy who shows any inkling of not being a soy boy, my God, it's like seagulls fighting over a crab shell. It's actually scary when you go out to certain bars because every guy in there, they're about $110, counting their 2-pound glasses that they have on their nose, and they're all looking at their feet because, oh, she's a woman, I'm afraid. And then I come in, hey, how you doing, sweetheart? Next thing you know, I got her fucking claws sunk into my thigh. It's yeah. I mean,
how do you think I feel, man? I go out to some of these clubs where I'm going to go do a rope display with somebody because they're wanting me to tie them up in public. I get off the equipment with them, and I've got 3 women trying to line up, trying to convince me to tie them up next.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's nothing against you because you handsome devil. And apparently, from what I've been hearing on the internet, I'm not exactly one that should be ringing a bell myself, up in the bell tower. So, but you know what I'm saying? It's like I know exactly what you mean. It's getting to the point where I mean it's great for folks who are poly because fucking the buffet is open, but at the same time,
it makes it hard too, man, because you got to be careful. I mean,
yeah, but you're spoiled for choice right now, which is a good thing. But at the same time, again, it's causing that breakdown because it's not because more people are into the scene. It's because they're now starting to explore different things, not out of curiosity. I think it's out of desperation. And to me, that dilutes the scene itself because people are supposed to come there because they're interested, they're curious, they want to be there, not because there's nowhere else for them to go because they can't find somebody compatible because there's no one there. You know what I'm saying? it's kind of like closing the supermarket, so it's driving everyone into McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's because they can't go and get food anywhere else. It's not that they want to eat there, and for the people who do enjoy eating there, takes away from them because now they got to wait longer online. There's not as much seat. Again, to me, it's that's the best analogy I could use, I guess. I don't know. I'm talking so much. I'm making myself dizzy.
I want to let the guys that are listening or will be listening. This doesn't mean that you should, just go out and fuck anyone you want.
No, not
Still
at all.
make sure not to stick your dick in crazy.
Agreed.
No, not in disease. Crazy can be fun, but certain types of crazy.
Yeah,
harmless crazy.
I can be the harmful yet fun crazy. It just depends on how you hit me, and I don't mean literally. Like my thing with my ex-husband's other lover, it was the fact that I was having to drive from my home to another metropolis, and I hate that type of drive. I hate driving on the interstate, and I hate metropolis cities. Yes, Scooby, I know that New York is nothing but a big ass metropolis. But
I was going to say we're a metropolis of metropolises. So,
but it's New York. I want to visit. If I live there, literally, I can walk to wherever I need to go and just go home.
Yeah, that is true.
But I was mostly tired of going and picking this bitch up. So, that's the bad kind of crazy. But the fun kind of crazy is like me dressing up like Harley Quinn to turn Burnside on.
Yeah. I remember when I had 2 mistresses. It was a living hell. They were friends, and then one started to become insanely jealous of me, jealous of the other one rather, and I actually had to start seeing the one behind the other one's back. So, again, let me clarify because a lot of you folks are into the scene. I'm using the local term when I say mistress. I prefer using that to the term gumad because a lot of people don't know what I'm saying because they don't speak the tongue. But what I guess I don't want to say lady of the evening because that usually means a hooker. I just had women that I was seeing at the time, and that was the only reason I was going there was for physical affection. It was at their request and at their behest. The term that we use up here, the local parlance for a woman like that, would be mistress. Now, I understand that's also the proper title for a dominatrix. So, for those of you folks, when you do come up to New York, you're going to hear that term thrown around a lot. It might cause you some disorientation or confusing. They're using it in the old-fashioned term, which basically means
side ass.
Yes,
an intimate female partner.
Thank you. I was trying to figure out the best way to put it properly.
It means that she is the side chick.
Well, it would have been, but this is the thing. She was the only chick at the time, and all she wanted was that. So I was dating the other one at the time. And that was also for the same reason. See, that's the thing. It's not really like I was philandering. I mean, I had met a few different women I was seeing, but I saw them often. So it was like habitual. So I guess that is kind of bad now that I'm looking back on it. Seeing like anywhere from, my God, I think at my worst, I was seeing 6 at one time. So,
see, I said you're a man whore.
Yeah,
but
you were poly. Give it up. You were poly.
But
I guess but this, I don't know how long has the poly scene really been like really revving, because I don't even think there was a poly scene back then. At least not.
No, poly scene's been around for a very long time.
1920s was when it first really became a big thing in the United States. Prior to that, it was Hellfire Club type activities back in the late 1700s.
So I'm guessing it started to become more prominent and more in the fore, as it were, like in the late 90s, because that's the first time I ever caught wind of it.
70s, 80s was when it started becoming common again.
Right.
But it mostly dealt with a lot more of the alternative lifestyles still. And even to this day, it still does.
I remember it started to become more prominent, like with when Donahue had on the Mormon Family, and the guy had like 10 wives, things like that. Yeah. Which, hey, you know, and I loved my father, may he rest in peace. The way he had, like, because my mother couldn't understand it, my father would explain to her. He said, well, it's like how the cat, and my father was a Catholic, but he rationalized, well, the way the Catholics did it, they would just have you where they wanted you to keep being intimate with your wife over and over to build up their numbers. Because the man was military, so he knew military strategy, and that's a good way to build up your numbers, to say that, you know, God wants you to have as many kids as you can. So that's why Catholics, I'm one of 7. That's a small number. My wife's father is one of 12. That's actually more common. You know, people talk about the illegals coming in here. The reason that there are a half a dozen to a dozen of them at a clip is because they're Catholics, and it's part of our thing. You can't waste a seed. It's, you know, it's a sin.
Every seed is sacred.
But my father had pointed out that he had felt that what the Mormons did was take that a step further, because not only are you supposed to do that with the one woman, you should get as many women as you can and do that. He said it was a number building strategy. So,
well, and to be fair, prior to the New Testament, there was quite a bit of polyamory in the Bible.
Oh yeah, oh of course, I know that. That's I had pointed that out to my father also. I said, we are the only ones, as far as I know, in the Western world that are actually, you know, one wife, one husband. You know, I mean, you look most of the Mediterranean places that were not christened, you know, that didn't become Christian. That was very common practice. North Africa, parts of the Baltics, parts of Greece, you know, all these different areas had some level of that. I mean, God, look at India. My God, look at India. And look at the Arabs with the sultans with their harems. Again, the best example, you want to talk poly, look at Genghis Khan. You know about Genghis Khan, right?
Oh yeah.
I think, what is it? What is it? 6 out of every 10 people in that part of the world are descended from him.
Yep.
Like 60% of the fucking population. That's insane. It's insane. How many women did this man nail, and he didn't catch anything?
Yeah, Robbie's in there asleep.
You know, that actually raises another question. What were the Mongols? What medical techniques did they use to check for venereal disease? Because as far as I know, Genghis Khan died of old age, and it wasn't from syphilis. So something to look into.
If I remember correctly, though, they didn't have syphilis until the white man entered.
I had actually, there's a video about that. I'll send it to you later, Wolfie. It's actually interesting. Syphilis was something that humanity had thousands of years ago, and when we started to divide as a species into different ethnic groups, the coding actually got broken up against the groups. Part of what actually caused the outbreak of syphilis was the migration of different ethnic groups across Europe and Asia, and the reason it wiped out the Native Americans, they had not had syphilis for about, I think, 18,000 years, and we introduced the missing components to their genetics, and that's why it roared forward like that. It's actually, we've had it for so many thousands of years. It's actually in your genetic code. If you get syphilis, it's because you slept with a woman or man who had the right genetic markers to activate the syphilis genes that you have in your body already. It's kind of depressing. Like, it's kind of like finding out you're full of nitroglycerin and you might accidentally sleep with somebody who's a detonator cap.
That is an interesting way to put it.
Well, it's the same thing with gonorrhea too.
Exactly. That's something a lot of people don't realize about venereal disease. It's almost as if we are genetically designed to not migrate and to stay where the fuck we are and to not go screwing around with other people. These diversity or strength people, they might want to grab a clue and read a book about venereal disease. Like, actually, that's what's causing all these outbreaks. You know, I don't want to keep.
Well, hey, Scoob, you
Yeah.
can't rain on their parade about that because they had to make it legal for you to actually to give people venereal disease in California because people were being prosecuted over that.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah,
better be careful talking like that, or people are going to claim that's hate speech.
Oh well, good, because they're gonna want to give me the chair for what I was about to say next. I'm saying this as somebody who would submit to it. Also, this isn't like, well, I have my wife already, I'm not going to do it. I mean, me and her are doubtfully not going to have any children. She doesn't really want any, and the way the world is shaping up, I don't think I could bring a kid into this world, like with a clear conscience. On me, that's just on me. But I've been saying to people for years, you're pushing this diversity as our strength, and you're worried about racism, you're worried about all this other stuff. I'm a firm believer, and maybe you and your prospective mate should actually go and get yourselves checked out by a geneticist to see if you're compatible to have a child, because your kid might wind up with a whole slew of health problems or other such things because you might not be compatible genetically. No one wants to hear that. Oh, well, you're being racist. No, there are certain people, like if they have different Rh factors, their kid could actually grow up. That's a lot of these kids who get cancer later on. It's because the parents had to go through prenatal treatment because they had non-compatible blood types. They don't like to tell you that.
That's how I ended up with Marfan syndrome, actually.
Sorry, man.
My mother was A positive. I'm A negative.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, and a little thing about blood types. If you have a negative blood type, you're part alien.
You part what? Wolfie?
Part alien. There's a genetic code that's different. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Negative blood type. There's a genetic code in your blood that is different than any other blood type in the universe.
Yeah.
And it doesn't match. And they're thinking it's part alien.
From what I've read and what I understand, that is a pretty cool. That really is a cool theory. I'm not going to front. I really do like it, but unfortunately, I've read into it too myself. One of the other things, and it's a little bit more disturbing, was the reason that a large majority of people in Europe and in parts of Asia have Neanderthal DNA. Is there's a theory going around that the Neanderthal was an alpha predator, and one of the things that they would do is rape human women when they would go into heat. And what that blood type was actually an evolutionary reaction so that the body would actually kick out the Neanderthal infected fetus. It's part of the reason that Cro-Magnon started to evolve from Homo sapien. But once Neanderthals and Denisovians in Asia all of a sudden went extinct, it curtailed the evolutionary. Basically, the threat just all of a sudden disappeared. So they were already starting to evolve into Cro-Magnon, specifically in far Western Europe, Ireland, upwards of the upper and lower Mediterranean. There's actually a large concentration of Cro-Magnon in the Iberian Peninsula and in the area that would become
pretty
Carthage.
much the Bigfoot
those are the ones.
The abominable snowman are end up breeding themselves out of existence.
They think what had happened was this is the thing. Now they think that a lot of these things went north into Siberia, and that's where you get the local folk legends of the Almas, and also, like you said, Bigfoot and the Yeti. They think were they actually think those are Gigantopithecine, but they think that the Neanderthals and the Denisovians actually might be what the people in the Urals see all the time. So,
Urinals? What?
the Urals. That's the Siberian outback, the tundra, the Urals. That's the area of Russia. You'll see the creatures they refer to are the Almas. That's actually, there's footage, I believe, from 1930 of a woolly mammoth that somebody filmed in that area. So you might want to check that out. It is up on YouTube.
A living woolly mammoth.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You have to realize you could sink in the United States into Siberia, I think, 3 or 4 times over. Like you could.
Yes, Siberia is huge, and there's a lot it's impossible to track. It's even impossible to map with a satellite in a real enough time to know what's there.
Yeah.
And it's so inhospitable that people don't live there, so there's no way to really tame it.
Yeah. I've been hearing about this since I was a kid, about these things over there.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's not just there. I mean, there's stories about that kind of stuff in northern Canada as well, because we've got the Yukon Territory and such of that nature here in North America,
Mm-hmm.
which is heavily uncharted. I mean, they've got the borders out, and they can say, well, yeah, these are the GPS coordinates, but it doesn't mean that anybody stepped foot there in like 60 years.
Yeah.
And when you've got that kind of time frame between when people step foot there, you never know what's going on, really, because there's nobody to observe.
Well, I've always said about where you live right now, I've always said that place has given me pause, the Pacific Northwest, because of, like you just said, I've always felt that they did like just the minimal amount of, okay, we've checked it out. Everything looks good here. Let's build a community. There's just so much of that area that, aside from people who enjoy going into the trails and like are wilderness types, not a lot explored over there, hence all the Bigfoot sightings and other such. So,
well, that's just like I keep getting told by people in Portland that there's no wild pig in Oregon, and yet I've walked through 7 or 8 pig walls.
Yeah, I'm just glad I'm not crazy, because I kept saying in the beginning of the summer that I could have sworn I seen coyotes, and now there's coyotes on Long Island. I don't know where the hell they came from, but we got them.
I'm not sure they're coyotes, man. I'm still leaning that they're coy wolf.
The thing is, because they reintroduced the red wolf into the area, and they had specifically, I guess, tranked and removed any coy wolf that they had in New York State, because I think New York and New Jersey and Connecticut, they reintroduced red wolves. From I think it was down Georgia where they were able to get them, because I think that it was that's like the last spot in the country where there's actually native red wolves. So yeah, so they had brought some of them up here, and they had displaced the coy dogs and the coy wolves that were here. Because we did have them. It's just because they followed the Erie Canal. Yeah. So that's the only thing I can think of is, how the hell did we get actual coyotes? Because these things, that's from a different part of the country. Those are like in the Southwest,
No, not in the Southwest.
They're here in Florida too.
Oh yeah, that's part of the reason we ended up with the coy wolf out there. Is some of the western coyotes ran some of the Colorado Rocky Trail passes and ended up in Wisconsin, Missouri, Alabama, came up around the Great Lakes and into New York and down the East
Coast.
Those
are the hybrids, though, I thought. Those are the hybrids. No,
some of them were actually pure strain Western Coyote.
Oh, okay. See,
that's how you got the hybrids.
I thought that they were tethered to the southwestern area because of the topography, and that when they were hybriding with dogs and wolves, that's when they were able to leave. Okay.
No, actually, the coyote, the Western coyote, is probably North America's most diverse predator, short of the domestic cat
and the chupacabra.
Let's leave the goat sucker be for a second, but because the coyote will hunt rabbits, squirrel, prairie dog, muskrat, nutria, beaver, grouse.
Just like a Delmarva fisherman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you got that. That's usually an East Coast joke.
But the point is that when you're that capable in your food choices, it gives you a lot of mobility.
Yeah, I can see that completely. I mean, I knew they were omnivorous. I had just assumed, again, because of the amount that they had repopulated so many wolves in that part of the portion of the country above, and to the east of them, they started repopulating the wolves in Yellowstone. I remember they were repopulating them in certain southern states in the park areas. So I just figured that these things were kind of locked into the Southwest. That's why when I found out they were actually coyotes, I'm like, how the hell did they get here? I'm thinking they got to be in like Santa Fe. Like, I just figured being up here, it would just not agree with their physiology. I figured it would make them sick.
Yeah, no, they are pretty good anywhere in the world. It's just that they prefer the south. They prefer the Southwest because there was less competition for them.
Yeah.
There were
Yeah,
no
wolves
mountain, no
wolves
mountain
don't like
lions,
arid.
no wolves.
Yeah, wolves and lions don't like arid environments.
Yeah, and
wolves,
so the
wolves
coyote,
are prairie creatures. Yeah.
and so they had kind of migrated to that area because that was where larger predators weren't. And a coyote is only 30 to 45 pounds, where you see some of these larger gray wolves or even the red wolves that are between 50 and 100 pounds. You know, you start talking a serious difference in the size. Wolves outcompete the coyotes quite handily.
You ever see those Czechoslovakian wolf dogs?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Beautiful. I had applied about 10 years ago for a breeder's license. Never went through with it. I don't have the heart to break up with the puppies. Couldn't do it. Love dogs. Excuse me. Ugh. Well, this was interesting. We segued from being poly to wolves to Neanderthal DNA. It was a good talk.
Well, hey, fair, we did segue pretty legitly there, but
Yeah.
to get back on topic, even if wait, Tara, aren't we supposed to be winding down here shortly?
I'm giving it a little more since we started late.
Okay. Yeah, the big thing about poly, especially for those of y'all watching after the fact or those of y'all watching right now, clear communication, concise boundaries and rules, understanding, patience, and the ability to really listen and communicate with all partners involved.
And once you get to my age, if you're not old enough to drink, you're not old enough for kink.
Well, Sir Wolfie, I have to be a bit curious as to how exactly old you are, considering you're talking age here.
Let's just say last year I was the meaning of life and everything in the universe.
Okay, so we're not that far away from each other. One of my the primary girlfriend I've got right now is that age as well, so I don't disagree with you on the on some of the age concerns there. Although I will admit, on occasion when I'm doing public demos,
Public demos is a different thing. There's no real relationship to it.
no, there's not. But sometimes it gets a little weird when I've got a 19-year-old girl asking me to tie her to the ceiling.
I know, right? I'm like, okay, but you're not going home with me.
I
I'm
don't call you daddy.
That's creepy.
That's what my daughters call me.
Right? You know, I told this to Tara, and I think I told it to Burnside and Six, but one of the reasons I, took such a shine to Weibo is because she reminds me of one of my nieces, and I think somebody had said something to me offline about it. I told him, I said, it's disgusting. I'm twice the girl's age. She's a beautiful girl, but I look at her and I see a little girl. That's just how my mind works, because I'm twice the girl's age, you know. And I'm not calling her a child. She's an adult. But in my mind, for me, even if I wasn't a married man, for me to go near somebody her age, it's wrong because I have all this life experience and she's fresh and she's young. To me, it's kind of like you're taking advantage of this young girl. You're an old man. Stay the fuck away from her. Let her go live a life. Find somebody your old age, you old bastard. That's the what I tell myself, and I'd say that to anybody else. Like, really, if you're old enough to have a child this age, do you really want to date somebody this age? That's just how I always looked at it. And I'm not knocking people who have that much of an age difference between them and their significant other. I don't want to get anyone up in arms. I'm just saying, me personally, when you're out playing the field, it's one of those things where I just can't look at a girl that young. If she was, she
Hey,
has to be
Scooby,
at
the
least.
bunny that left me was only 23.
So,
Wow, God bless you, man. Me personally, I can't deal with them under 30. I've talked, even when I talk to these young girls when I'm out, I mean they're beautiful, but at the same time I talk to them and I'm like, oh, I don't know. It makes me feel so old talking to them. I feel like a
So-
fucking teacher giving them a
so,
lesson.
so Scooby is definitely not into May-December relationships.
You know what it is? It's only, I guess, like if a girl is 20 and a guy's 40. If a woman's 40 and the guy's 70, who the fuck cares? She's an adult, you know? It's, you know what I'm saying? It's when it's just for me. I don't know. It's when the kids, when these younger folks are between 20 and 30, they got so much shit rattling around in their own heads. I
That
just
they
don't want
don't
to be
even
there when.
understand.
Yeah, I don't want to be there when they're figuring it out. You know, it's what it is
Ah.
because I know where I'm going and I know what my path is. And I don't know what her path is. I got no right to put her on my path. She has to make that decision herself. And you know, the other thing is, let's say I'm at 40. I meet a 20-year-old girl. I get with her. In 10 years, she decides she wants to leave me because she's still young. She has a whole life ahead of her. Well, I'm 50. What the fuck am I going to do? You know, there's a lot of elements in the equation to like that I always weighed, and I don't know. Me, I can't go after a young girl. I feel like I'm taking advantage of this young girl's innocence. Like I'm being deceitful. Like I know all the tricks to the game, and I'm duping her. I don't know. That's just how I think of it. That's part of the reason. I don't know. I got a lot of guilt issues, I guess.
Yeah, I can hear it. Man.
It's the Catholic guilt I was raised with. It really is brainwashing. I admit it openly.
All right. Well, we're about 15 past, which is around when we started. So we'll start the shilling with Fluffy Butt.
I am Sir Wolfie. Master polyamorous and, well, stuck in the internet. And yes, I'm a YouTuber on YouTube, so yeah, find me. I'm there somewhere. Next.
Veteran Mountain Man.
Well, everyone, I'm Veteran Mountain Man. I am polyamorous. I am also a YouTuber. I'm also on several other social medias. You can catch me on Chaos 120 with Tara and Scooby, of course, later tonight and tomorrow.
And Scooby?
I'm Scooby331. I am not polyamorous. I am married to my wife, but I have my good friends here who are polyamorous. And when I'm not busy being an insensitive asshole and hurting the feelings of good people like my friend Sir Wolfie, sorry, bro, I didn't mean to say that before and hurt your feelings and insult you like that. I'm a dick. I should have thought before I spoke. But when I'm not being a complete useless dickhead, you guys can follow me here on YouTube. I am on Minds.com, GabAI, Patreon, and PayPal. Those are finally working again. If you guys want to dip into your pocket to throw me a buck, I'm trying to get a GoPro so I can film the insanity with that communist running for office over in Queens. So, yeah, this is going to be cool. So, yeah, anything you guys can help, because right now I got my wife's borrowed cell phone. I can't really film a lot with that. And I am on Twitter. I am still suspended on Twitter because Jack Dorsey is a punk. But that's me in a nutshell.
Hashtag
Free
Free
Scooby
Scooby again. Hashtag Poofy Spaz.
Thanks, guys.
And I am Tara Sin, your favorite cyber bitch. Tonight I was hosting Deviants number 15. You can find me on pretty much any social media. Please like, share, subscribe. I actually took a very short video that will be posted in a little bit of some kids that decided that we're going to go swimming in a pool during a lightning storm.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, that's going to get posted. It's not very good quality, I'll admit that, because it was a zoom in. But it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be good. Let's see. I will be on Chaos 120 later tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. I don't know what the rest of the country is. Let's see. And yeah, that's about it. Go watch my kitten videos. I have videos of my kitten.
Is he in a microwave?
Huh?
Is he in a microwave?
No, the kitten is not in a microwave, Scoob.
All right.
No, she's playing with her toy and like getting up on her hind legs and using her front paws to like grab the string.
Oh, cool. You got to try
Yes.
saran wrap into a skateboard for your next video.
No,
All right.
I love my kitty.
I know. I'm just trying to help you get views.
No, we are not. Now, I am willing to saran wrap a door opening and watch someone run through it. Yes.
Cool. You got to buy a bag of candy, put it on the table, and get Katrina's kid in the hallway. I make you smile. That's all that matters to your day.
I think I'll end up, saran wrapping the door from like 2 foot, he's 5, so, about 3 foot high down. And, when he wakes up, he just walks into it.
Next time one of her friends sleeps over and sleeps on the couch, you got to try doing that to them too.
No, I sleep on the couch. We just got the new furniture today.
Are we no longer live?
No, we're still live. As I get the mouse to show up. So, good night, everyone.
Good night.